Warning: viewer discretion is advised.
This is what you train for! Now pick up that banger! That's right! Get no scoped! Get no scoped!
There's a misconception with the toxic culture in the Call of Duty community. Considering that I am amongst them, it is no surprise that COD is full of very emotional men and women who will scream at you for the most minuscule reason.
Move away from me! Get away from me! I hate you! I hate all of you!
And it doesn't even matter if you're on the same team. It could still happen, but we do have to admit that it has dialed back a little bit compared to back in the day. But that's not the point of the video, as for some reason, the title of it says that Call of Duty's commonly labeled toxic community is actually fun. I think I stated very wrongly in a previous video that Call of Duty's community is somewhat of a safe space for certain people. And well, for fans and non-fans of the franchise, we all know it ain't no safe space.
You are a fucking abortion.
Players constantly deep-throating their mics, saying words they should never say, and always provoking others with their charming personalities. But I will fix myself and later explain why I said it was a safe space, as I completely made an idiotic statement with that. Let's just say that this toxic community is a double-edged sword with aspects that either make it entertaining or completely enraging. So we have our two sides, the good side and the bad side. But don't get it twisted. The good side is full of those emotion-filled moments where we test the limits of some people's vocal range. This is the side you obviously want to be on, because it's the good side. But what makes it that? Well, a lot of those more mentally challenging players that don't play COD, but often make fun of COD's community, would associate this side right alongside the bad one. And that's because this is the side where we as players sit back and witness the beauty of annihilation to those around us. We as humans have many emotions such as anger, sadness, happiness, and so on. Because of those emotions, we actually feel something rather than being brain dead and feeling nothing inside. And what may be someone else's misery may just be your joyfulness, you twisted, sadistic fuck. However, the great thing about all this, and what makes it less twisted, is that it's just a game, and you're free to be the biggest keyboard warrior known to mankind. Teams may have just gotten done screaming at each other, and next thing you know, everyone has already moved on to the next match. Oh, but what if that screaming hurts my ears and I get tired of it match after match? Well, luckily for you, it isn't like that stereotypical lobby all the time anymore. But just in case, you're still on with the good old mute button. When you're ready for more, you just turn it back off. What COD players often hate to experience is when their environment gets attacked by those that are offended by everything. Before this gets taken out of context, this does not mean absolutely zero filter on the game. You are not any cooler if you drop certain words that you know you shouldn't say. But I have to say, and this is probably a popular opinion amongst longtime COD fans, hardly any of us find it fun if we have to constantly watch out for offending you. I do not care if little Tommy over here called you a short retard. And honestly, if that gets to you and triggers you that much, then I pray for you. While a lot of the longtime gamers were able to live much more freely back in the day, none of us today can say the same without encountering some wall of heavily offended people that may not even directly affect them. It's 2022 as of now, and clearly the social media presence has been the mass contribution to that. Thankfully for most gamers, they don't have a social media presence to watch out for, but most of them are average social media users. I'd imagine in this day and age, you scrolled past many posts that made you think the world is changing rapidly, and maybe for the worse. And let's just say that the COD community, mainly multiplayer and Warzone, breed old school gamers alike that just want to have fun. When you start applying all these filters and you're constantly on edge of what you say to others, it's no longer that much fun because everything goes stale. The provoked emotions are heavily dialed back and it feels like we're adults chit-chatting at a little kid's birthday party. Does that reflect maturity? I don't think so. In fact, I trust some COD players more than some of the snakes that have drama buried into the ground. I'm serious. Look at all the drama spreading around from Twitch creators and Twitch itself recently. If you've been keeping up with that, it's crazy how some drama can reveal itself years later. And let me tell you, two-faced people are much scarier and are the real toxicity. But let's get back on point. The good side. This is a badly perceived community even though a lot of the players enjoy the game. Although we complain a lot about every release, I believe all of us find some sort of nice vibe when we're getting good games together on those such as Search and Destroy. Some of the more interesting conversations in your life most likely happen on that mode.
Can you shut up? I'm trying to concentrate. Shut up.
Sometimes it isn't all about being sweaty and trying to impress some random gamer girl that'll never talk to you again. Sometimes it's as simple as playing with buddies and strangers getting creative, like those funny moment videos you'll see on YouTube from your favorite creators. Things such as trick shotting and ninja defusing would never even exist without us messing around and getting creative. Trolling others to just get them purposely pissed off was kind of funny sometimes too, but spicing things up in a match can never hurt anyone, such as teabagging and shooting bodies. Even as a casual player, from time to time you might just find that one player that enrages you, and new beef has been created for the rest of that match. Sadly, they disband lobbies nowadays. I personally perceive a lot of the community as a fun zone, but it does carry a truly toxic environment in some respects. That's where the bad side comes in. The bad side is what strips away all the fun and chaos that can be generated from Call of Duty matches. One of the more inflated problems in COD has come from the PC side, with the increasing impact from no-lifers who only eat turkey sandwiches, also known as hackers. The people with no sense of morals that cheat because 14-year-old Billy dropped 50 kills on them and constantly teabag them, or the clout they are chasing to score a few bucks. Either way, I don't think a single person would disagree with this holding a true form of toxicity within all of gaming. It causes people to get upset and turn off the game, potentially storing it away for a long period of time, if not forever. Imagine you never saw your online friend ever again because of a hacker. While there was hackers back on the older games, they were less often seen because COD used to be mainly just console, and those are much harder to crack and encourage hacking. It was when we saw the new phase of Call of Duty starting to become more mainstream on PC when this hacker problem became bigger and bigger that it's one of the more talked about things every day. But the hacking problem is talked about enough. I already see it every day on Twitter. Let's move on to something else. COD players do have a tendency to take things too far, and that has always been around. I do think there has always been a good portion of players that are saying things they shouldn't say. Death threats used to be so normal back then, and while some may have been written off as a joke and to not be taken literally, others are representation of pure rage in another person's eyes. That is no joke when some of these escalate and result in your information being obtained. You still see that a lot nowadays, when a loyal fan base for anything doesn't get their way. The other thing is all those bad words, the really offensive ones that everyone knows you shouldn't say. Both death threats and not very good choice of words are both long-lasting toxic factors that still need removed, but we need to make sure to not rid the fun at the same time. Dealing with the developers and having to make compromises is another terrible thing. What I mean with that is the community constantly going through changes due to business moves. A lot has changed throughout the franchise's lifetime, and a lot of that was very questionable from the community's viewpoint. And these can be little things such as the emblems. If you've been playing a while, I'm sure you remember these and how we were able to create something everyone was looking at before matches began. But most likely due to the maturity of some of these, we got them stripped away. Trickshotting and quickscoping used to be something developers hated for some reason, and we saw the roller coaster experience with that between games. Skill-based matchmaking negatively impacting good players where it used to be non-existent or not nearly as strong. Look at all the debate on Twitter about it, it's always talked about. What I hate about the skill-based matchmaking decision is that it hurts longtime fans who have been loyal to the franchise, but I also understand in tailoring towards the more casual majority side, because that's where most of them lie. There are even bigger things that I think affect the community, such as Warzone taking a higher priority over something such as the classic multiplayer many have grown accustomed to. Even Zombies more recently feels like it's tailored for multiplayer gamers. It's another business decision that gets them money, but also punishes the longtime fans, showing where their priorities are. No wonder why a lot of the COD fans are always salty and attacking the game every year. They built up a habit of nitpicking, and I think a lot of that is due to the priorities over at Activision. The fans and them hardly get along, but we can't help it, because a lot of us have a love for this game, and already established memories from the years of playing. I can't blame anyone for that. The relationship between fans and those behind the scenes have been staying for a while, I'd say, but it's always best to cherish what we have right now, because we never know what route we will go down in the future. I think a lot of us have appreciated hearing game chat and the environment it creates within Call of Duty. I've seen it within people's experiences in the Modern Warfare 2 beta that occurred. A lot were loving the good old classic Call of Duty game chat where mics were punished if someone said one wrong thing. Although we don't have the same replicated experience back in the day where all mics were trashy and people were even more edgy, it's still a fun and hilarious experience listening to someone get mad over the littlest of things. If you do get offended by someone cussing, calling you fat, or dropping some unpleasant words, then you are still free to stray away from that. Just don't take away an experience that lots come home to so that they can escape from reality and enjoy a few games with their buddies. With how the world has changed over the past decade, we need escape from realities more than ever. Call of Duty's community is misunderstood in my opinion, and a lot of us are just having fun, just how games are meant to be experienced. Not everything is to be taken literally. While the community has its flaws, I don't think there is nothing wrong with letting loose a little bit in this day and age.